Good morning, good morning. How are you? Very good, very good. Well, this morning, the Mommy Chronicles with Miss Camille. I'm at the Walgreens waiting for my mom prescription. So I'm out and about to run some errands. But it's been on my heart and I've been wanting to talk about it. And I don't know if it's therapy for myself, but if it is, I'm going to share it. One thing I want to say is guard your husband. Guard your husband. It's so funny because I guard my kids, I guarded my job, but when it came to my husband, I didn't always guard him. Meaning, for example, I'm at Walgreens. I don't know if y'all can see those mountains in the back. I'm in Arizona, in the middle of nowhere. But when it came to my husband, I didn't always guard him. And I was a young bride. So it would be occasion that I might have been the only one married out the bunch. And because I got married at 19. And my husband was tall and handsome, honey. You see my son, he looked like my husband. But my husband was like 6'4", 6'5", tall muscles. And he was good to me, like I said. And funny thing, because I seen a CC Winans this morning, and she was saying how when she forgot, they was asking her like how she stayed married so long, and she was saying it was not because of nothing I did, but the grace of God. She said because when I first got married, she said I was emotional, and she said I would put God first, and instead of arguing with my husband, I would go to God. And she said every time God would say it ain't him, it's you. And I could say the same thing looking back. A lot of stuff that was going on, it was me too, not all him. He was a good husband, but we was young. And but anyway, so I was young. So with that being said, somebody would come and tell me, I seen your husband here, or I seen your husband doing this, or I seen your husband doing that, or I seen your husband at the group. And instead of me saying, oh, okay, that's nice, I would go on a tangent. Why, who, where, what, many a times. And I guess because my immaturity, I would listen to what people said about my husband instead of guarding my husband. Even if he was doing whatever or whoever or whatever, that was something between me and him. And I noticed, this is just something that I share with my daughters, but I noticed the women that are still married, that got married around the same time we did this, a lot of them people, they guard their marriages. You don't know what's going on, what's not going on, what happened. Who knows? He might have cheated, she might have cheated. No one knows. He might have gambled, she might have spent all the money at TJ Maxx. But they kept it guarded. Do that make sense? So Mommy Chronicles, as a mommy, I guarded my children. You know, there goes school bus. You know, you guard your kids, make sure they get on the bus, make sure they go to school, you make sure the teachers don't talk crazy to them. But when it comes to our husbands, at least with mine, I didn't guard him like that. Anything said about him, I'll be, what? He did what? You seen him do what? And another thing, watch out for I wouldn't put up with that with you if I was you, girl. Well, that was too, because I'd be discussing different things, or I would hear people discussing things, and you would hear the women say, girl, I wouldn't put up with that if I was you. I wouldn't put up with that if I was you. Don't listen to nobody telling you, which you don't really never hear married women say that. Not often, I didn't. But the married women that were with their husband, they really didn't say too much. But a lot of you single, I remember having single people around me. Matter of fact, I'll just say I was working at a beauty salon, and the older women, they would say, oh girl, I wouldn't put up with that if I was you. If they would hear somebody saying something about their husbands, And sometimes I think women like to hear you say negative things about their husband, about your husband, because they're giving them a chance to have dibs. And I was telling my daughter this morning, we was talking about something. I think we was talking about Tabitha Brown or something. But you got to be careful, because sometimes people pick on you just because you have a husband. And I found that to be true for me, especially when I was young. Me and my husband had together. We had a business, we had 2 cars, we had a house, we had 4 beautiful children. But somebody always look at you and be wanting to know how she had that. The lady want to park right here. Look at her. She want to park her car right here, which I'm going to step back a little bit. But it's always going to be somebody that's going to be like, how she get that, or him, or how she get to have the perfect husband and 4 kids. Because I always had a business. But it's always going to be somebody looking at you, wondering how you did it, how you do it, why is it not me? Why is it her? How she get the perfect husband? And if you see my kids, they're beautiful. They look just like my husband. But how she get it all? So in that retrospect, I'm just going to say, if you have it all, the perfect husband to others, because they don't know that behind doors y'all be bopping it out, or you don't always see eye to eye, or y'all barely making the bill sometimes, but some kind of way y'all make it. You might be eating rice and beans, but it's always somebody on the outside looking at you, thinking you had the perfect marriage, but they don't know that you go through it with your husband. But if you can go through it with him and stick it through the end, it's going to be okay. Because it's going to be naysayers, especially people that don't have a husband, especially people that's not married, or especially people that it didn't work out for them. And they see you with quote unquote the perfect family, which this is something I didn't understand as a young wife. I understand, because once you have kids, you get so wrapped up in your kids. And then I had a business. I was so wrapped up in my business. But I didn't guard my husband like I should have. But I didn't understand it because I was so young. So I tell my daughters, guard your marriage. I had my one daughter, she had a girlfriend wanted to come move in with her and her husband. And her husband said no. And I stood by her husband. If your husband said no, your girlfriend can't move in, if she needs to find her a place, you go with your husband. Oh, but she's my best girlfriend. Girl, she'll fuck your husband in a minute. Anybody don't believe me, watch that movie Soul Food. So you gotta be careful with she's my best friend. And that's why I said too, and when I was young, like I said, I was working and I was around a lot of older women, and they were, oh girl, your husband, if I was you, I wouldn't put up with that with you. So me and him, we separated for a little while, and I left. And lo and behold, she was setting my husband up with one of her girlfriends. He said, well, I had just went out of town for a week or so. But he said, such and such kept coming by visiting me. And I approached her, asked her, why you kept going by visiting my husband? You know I was out of town. Oh, I was just stopping by, make sure he was okay. Because they knew I was going. So, with that being said, I'm not going to keep you long. Guard your marriage. And one wise older woman, God bless her, Pastor Helen Hopkins. She wrote a book called The Threshold to Destiny. I read it, but she's from Delaware, so she's a sister girl from Delaware. And I talked to her on occasion. I haven't talked to her in a while, but her and her husband was married for like 30-something years, and she was one of those people that spoke highly of her husband. Never heard anything bad about her and her husband. But he passed, so eventually, me and her talked a couple of times, and she said one thing about her and her husband. She said if her and her husband had a falling out, she said she didn't go to her family, she didn't go to her pastor, she didn't go to a church. She said she went to a counselor or talked to somebody that didn't know her and her husband. So that way, they wasn't judging their situation. Because even sometimes if you tell your family about you and your husband having a falling out, they mad. So guard your marriage, guard your husband, just like we guard our kids. Come on now. We won't let nobody pick on our kids. Now what if I would have learned, don't let nobody come talk about my husband, even if he is doing what, that's still my husband. But instead, I worried about what such and such said. And God bless her, because she's no longer on this earth. So don't touch people's marriages. But if you are married and you have a husband, even if it looks to the world like it's perfect, but it might not be, and nobody don't know that it's not perfect until you tell them. And a lot of times with us women, especially me, you get around the older women, you start sharing. For example, Portia was married before. She was married and she was happily married. And then she got around them housewives. This is when she first started the show. Next thing you know, Portia was divorced. Because the girls on the house show, she was married to a football player. And they would say, oh girl, I wouldn't put up with that. He don't let you do this. He don't let... Keep people out of your marriage. Even if you don't do this or that, that's your husband. That's between you and your husband. So this is Mommy Chronicles. This is Miss Camille. Now, I'm just sharing with you my experience, what I experienced. Because a lot of the people that I noticed who guarded their marriages, guarded their husbands, they're still married. Them family members that only came around with their husband on the holidays. But other than that, you don't know if he was gone for 6 months. Because I had a cousin that her husband was gone for 6 months. She didn't tell nobody. Which he was in the military. But who knows what he was doing away in the military. But you're around people, oh girl, I wouldn't put up with that with you. I wouldn't let my husband go away for, 3 months, 6 months, whatever month. He would leave on occasion. Often. But they still married. She never explained. She never gave an explanation. Or her husband was away on what is it when they work when they're in the military and they go on a weekend retreat? What is it? I can't think of it though. But they still married. And when she would tell me about him leaving, I forgot what it's called. It's when you're in the military and you do things on the weekend, you go away or whatever. But if she had a whole bunch of people in her business, they would be, girl, I wouldn't put up with that, but you don't know what he's doing, and But she never said. And she still has her home, she still has her husband. So, word to the wise, if you have a husband, God bless you. And it's so funny because it's what I'm talking about happened 35 years ago, and you still got young women today leaving their husband. Leaving the husbands, leaving them, because they're going to go find themselves, or he wasn't the right one, or finding somebody, the right person for you. And a lot of time it ain't him, it's you. Just like it was me. It was a lot of childhood trauma I hadn't resolved, that when I got married and we start having problems, first thing, I'm not putting up with this. I'm going to find me somebody better. Girl, the same devil tells us the same thing. So if you got a husband and you think about leaving, taking the kids, going off, starting fresh, you going to meet somebody. I left my husband in 2005. It's 2025. And ask your aunties that's single that have all. You been wondering how my aunties, grandmoms, and aunts got all these kids and no husbands. And they'll tell you, oh, I left them. Them old women, they be quick to tell you how they left their husbands. But it's very few that can tell you how they stayed. Matter of fact, I had a friend at work or something talking. And he was going on about his sister was married for 4 years and her husband wasn't just no good. But that's her husband if he ain't no good. Same thing, women, like you don't let nobody talk about your kids. Have that same, I'll cut your throat when somebody talks about your husband and see what happens. When you stick by your husband. And me personally, I think a lot of people don't like Tabitha Brown because she got a strong marriage. She don't talk about her husband bad. That's Spirit. She said Tabitha Brown don't talk about her husband bad. But I bet you if she was on there how low down dirty he would, she probably, people wouldn't jump the gun on her so much. Even though they're saying it's quote unquote hurt. Well, I just don't like what she said. But she's older woman, she experienced. So she's just sharing her version of the story, which we're all allowed to do. And this is my version of the story. Stay away from people that tell you, I wouldn't put up with that if I was you. And this is the Mommy Chronicles. And as much as you fight, if somebody says something about your kids, girl, your kids slow. Fight when they say something about your husband. Don't. Or if they talk about your husband once, don't be around. Matter of fact, I was just talking to my daughter. I said, you don't have no whole bunch of girlfriends around you and your husband. And my daughter's husband looked like Chadwick Boseman, but his face is not as round. And he's tall. My son-in-law is 6. I guess Kim might be about 6'2", 6'3". He's fine. And my daughter's a spice too. She's cute. And my daughter got little waist and big booty. But she don't have no whole bunch of women around her husband. And she said one day he was at the grocery store, the white woman come up to him and wouldn't get out of his face because he's very handsome. But he loved my daughter. But I've taught my daughter, don't have no bunch of women around your husband. And don't talk bad about your husband to nobody. And they don't. And I tell them, guess what? Don't even talk bad about him to me. My daughter in Spain, my daughter in Spain, she called me one time talking about her husband. She called me, she's in Spain, 'cause she don't work. Her husband's in the military. The military pays for everything. All she got to do is make sure the kids get to school. They over in Spain, she called me, yapping about her husband and his, something came up with his mom or something. And I said, well, you can't worry about what's going on between him and his mom, but you could go to Heavenly Father and pray about it, let him fix it. But in the meantime, what do you like to do? You over in Spain. You on a vacation. I said, next time kids is at school all day, you need to stop at one of them cafes or go visit a little city or go charge a latte. What do you like to do? I know what's going on with him and you want him to do what you want him to do and he not. Take your mind off of him. What do you need to do? What do you like to do? Well, I like Pilates and I like speaking Spanish. Go take some Spanish classes. Go take some, better yourself. Take the energy that you're worrying about what he doing or not doing and put it in yourself. And just when you are with your husband, hug and love on your husband. Because people's husbands is dying left and right. So don't use this time, the short time, because it's only for a short time. It's not forever. You're going to be single for a season. You're going to be married for a season. You're going to be a mom for a season. And then you're going to be single again. Now, Miss Camille, I'm 55. I'm back in my single season again. All my kids is grown. And I have myself to take care of again. Well, now I'm taking care of mommy a little bit. But girl, I'm trying to get her assisted living. It's okay. But as far as being single, I'm still a single woman. So me raising my kids was only for a short while. Really, raising your kids is only for 20 years. If that. Because if you took that first 10 and put it into your kids, when they got of age, you'd be able to let them grow and move on. And you trust that you did a good job. You don't have to have 20-year-olds in your house you trying to still raise them. Because you know you spent time with them when they was little. But anyway, that's getting off to another tangent. But guard your husband. Just like we guard our kids, guard your husband. Don't let people come along and tell you, I wouldn't put up with that. If I was you, I wouldn't put up with that. Half them people that's married, you don't know what they putting up with. It's just the ones that are successful, they just don't tell you what they putting up with. Because the marriage is sacred. They keep it to themselves until they on the other side. Because at the end of the day, whatever you're going through is just for a season. Say trouble don't last always. And I'm here to let you know, trouble don't last always. It's just for a season. Raising your kids is just for a season. Marriage is just for a season. So a lot of times we take the marriage as in, I'm going to throw it away and find me a new one. Not knowing that it was just for a season. You don't up and find another, you might find another F-boy, or you might find another boyfriend, but them husbands, they don't come that fast and frequent as we imagine in our head. Because at the end of the day, that perfect person you're looking for is you. About time you worry about your own hair. About time you worry about eating right, and just learning to eat right and fast and pray is that take up all your time right there. Trying to teach yourself how to be disciplined, let alone worrying about a husband. And then what's the kicker is then all these women leave their husbands and all they talk about is finding a husband. I know, because I've been one of them. I still ain't found none, or they ain't found me yet. But I had to learn that I had a lot of childhood trauma that I had to get over. And I'm just now getting over, because now I'm older, my kids is growing, I get to spend more time on just me, what I need to do, which I could have very well did it with a husband, but I was too busy trying to get away, because I thought he was the problem, and he wasn't. Even though he might have did crazy stuff, I did crazy stuff too. I just heard them did it before he got home. But if I learned now as an older woman, if I would have took all that energy that I put in worrying about what he was doing and stayed my butt home, because that's another thing. I had family that I would go, and every weekend I'm hanging out at family's house. I could have been home with my husband. I learned that lesson too. That's what I'm saying. But I didn't guard my marriage like that. I didn't guard my husband like that, because I was still connected to my family. Did that make sense? Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, now that I'm older, I know to stay home, clean my house, clean my kitchen, be home with my husband. As soon as my husband, I had the weekend off, I was in that car going somewhere, going to family house, hanging around family. But now I'm older, I noticed my older cousins that's still married, they didn't hang around the family like that. They only came around the family like Thanksgiving or 4th of July, 2 times a year. They wasn't with the family every weekend because they was home with their husbands or taking care of their business. So that's what I'm saying. When you get married, you gotta guard your marriage. Stick close to your husband. Your husband, same thing. Stick close to your wife. Because sometimes we got all these families and these close friends. We just can't. Oh, I won't put no one for them. Oh yes, you are. You should cleave to your husband. You should cleave to your wife. And if your husband's not cleaving to you, that go to the Father in heaven and still take care of yourself. Do what you need to do for yourself. I'm not saying stay married. I'm not saying get a divorce. I'm just talking about my experience, what I learned. That if I would have took more time and not listen to everything around me and everybody around me, because like I said, it was the perfect marriage. But because I didn't hold grip to it tight, stay close, I was out and about, like I said, listening to what girlfriends said or listening to what family members said. Oh girl, I wouldn't put up with that with you. And it's so funny because I talked to my mom the other day, bless her little heart, and I said, Mommy, you ever heard somebody say that? Tell a married woman I wouldn't put up. She said, yeah, I used to hear my mom say that. Or she said, I used to hear my mom's sister say that. That's what I'm saying. Them old women. It's funny because when I was a young bride, it seemed like it was more older women around me talking about how they left their husband and, girl, you can do it. Then it was married women that would say, this is how I do it. This is how I do it. You know. Which I did have one lady gave me some Christian tapes about marriage, but she didn't never tell me how she did it or how to do it, like, you know. But I learned, and maybe God let me go through that so I could tell my daughters how to make it through, and they're making it. Thank God. The one daughter going on being married almost, it's going on 5 years, and Mona she got married 3 years ago, but they was together a couple of years before that. But like I said, I've heard it before. I wouldn't put up with that if I was you. And you never know what people putting up with. Some of the strongest marriages, people putting up with stuff. But because they keep their marriage sacred, because they keep their marriage to themselves, they still making it. And not only that, me and my daughter was laughing at, I was telling her, I remember one time, it was a girl had a handsome boyfriend, and one of them, I was doing this lady's hair, and I heard her say it, I bet you I could take him. Because she was jealous. Because the girl was a nurse, the girl had a house, car, doing good, handsome man. And all they need is, you know, a little foothold to get in there. And they'll try to take your man. That's a song. I'll take your man. It's a song. I'll take your man. So if you got a man, if you got a husband, instead of the naysayers coming in, girl, I wouldn't put up with that if I was you. I don't think he's the right one for you. He don't do nothing. All that. I mean, I done heard it all. I wouldn't marry him if I was you. Girl, some of them want him. And they don't want you to have him. And then you sitting at the girls' lunch, eating lunch with your girlfriends every weekend. While the married ones, they don't want to know about their business. So don't listen to these women. Don't listen to them. I'm trying to tell you. You can talk about me if you want to. I don't care. But I'm free. Don't listen, y'all young women, don't listen to these girls telling you that your man ain't no good. Girl, as soon as you turn your head, you only knew. So take that time. Take this from an old woman. Old woman. I'm old. Done been there, done that. If I was a young woman, I would have paid more attention to my marriage instead of listening to the naysayers. And my husband's still living, God bless. We've been divorced since 2017 or so. But separated. I left back in 2005. I'm going to meet somebody new and all. It was rough. And never met nobody new. Yeah, yes, I did. I had fun. I had lots of fun. But now that I'm older, I look back and I understand. This is just my story. That now that I look on the other side, I'm not 21 telling you this. I'm not 30 telling you this. I'm 55 telling you what's on the other side of the I'm going to leave my husband. Like the Carly B. Even if Offset, I still don't even know what Offset did. But you got 3 babies by this man. If you meet a new man, he got to still be able to take to you and your kids, which some men do, because with Sierra and that Sierra husband took to her, but she only had one. She only had one, and she tends to her husband, tends to her. Any city he goes to, she pack the kids up and they move right wherever he at. Because you gotta put that in your marriage. You gotta. And it's funny because Lala Anthony did an interview not too long ago with Angie Martinez, and she was saying how Sierra admires Sierra being married. But Lala, she worked. She even said in the video that I worked a lot and I stayed away a lot. And a lot of times, as women, we think we're going to set our husband over in the corner. He's going to be there when we get back. But some of your best girlfriends, they clocking when you come in, clocking when you're going. Making arrangements. People you know sometimes. Most times. Sometimes, I don't know. So, cleave to your husband. If you get one, I'm just telling you, if you get one, instead of packing up, even with that other little cute girl, what's the cute girl with the pretty hair? What's her name? Tiana Taylor. Husband is fine. Yeah, every time you see her, she's off somewhere working. He home with the kids. So, I know we want to be career women and do all that, but if you got a husband, and Tatiana, I know she like that new guy. He probably look good, but that don't mean he gonna marry her. And if he do, I don't know if he got more money than she do. But then the kids, they love their dad. They gonna so you still in the divorce. I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna get off this phone. It's just a piece of paper. Because even after you get a divorce, you still got to do the work. The divorce is just a piece of paper. Just like they say, marriage is just a piece of paper. But really, the work comes after the divorce. The work comes after the divorce. Because you're gonna meet somebody new. And I know when my husband came to my daughter's graduation with his girlfriend. I mean, even though I didn't say nothing, I still felt some kind of way. And you got to go through all that. And I'll talk about that another day. But let me get on here. I done talk. And I got to go in here and pick up my mommy's prescription. All right, I love you. I love you. And make sure you love you. Love on yourself. Go get a pedicure. Go get your favorite Starbucks drink. Do something special for you today. Okay, love you. Talk to you later. Okay, Mommy Chronicles with Miss Camille. Bye-bye.